I need my fix, and I need it now. Sex, drugs, alcohol, social interaction, food, and love are all fixes that we're all wired to want. Some of us may even need them. But right now, I'm struggling with a different type of want. Need, and yes, fix. I've been fighting to win the battle against this need or this fix and finally feel like I'm winning. The fix is engagement and views on my created content, as well as social media followers and fans. In this episode, I share with you how I personally defeat my needing my fix by letting my vision pull me and trusting the process. How's that for an intro? We're doing a little test today. And yes, I am keeping my distance. I thought I'd go for a walk for this little episode today. And guys, I am keeping my distance. I'm looking around. Everything's cool. I wanted to get out. I wanted to walk a little. Kind of like, or should I say, not unlike Bill Gates does when he needs to think and create and get inspired thought. The same thing with Steve Jobs. He did the same thing. So, I'm testing a few things from the trainer point of my little episode here. I'll speak as a trainer. I am experimenting with creating podcasts on the go without being confined to a studio. So I do have my lapel mic here for those of you watching. For those of you listening, I am literally on the go. I'm walking around right now. I will adjust the camera maybe a few times. Once again, from a trainer standpoint for the content creators out there, the journey of my, the documentation of my journey would be more accurate, I think is really important because I'm just a little guy trying to scratch out a living here, and I'm trying to figure things out on my own. And my audience is really, really small. My views are almost non-existent. I think I may average, let's say yesterday's video on YouTube, maybe 20 views. On a good day, I'll break 100 views. My engagement on social media is extremely low. However, I put in effort like as if I was some kind of social media star. I treat my work like it's everything. I treat my work like it's $1 million business. And the way I do this is I'm constantly learning and testing and applying the actions that allow me to, I got to keep this podcast clean, but I would drop the F-bomb. I'm taking the actions that allow me to F up a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean almost all the time. In order for me to identify problems with my process, I like that. I got to do them. I got to try them. I have to publish them. I have to look at my engagement. Not so much. That's kind of the point of this podcast. So in this episode, I just kind of read off my intro, which is the text portion. That's one test that I'm doing today. Second test is this is really only my second piece of content where I'm aware that I'm creating a podcast episode and a video. I should be looking at you guys more, because this does start out as a YouTube live. Hey guys, how you doing? For the 3 of you that are tuning in right now. Oh, we're 4 people. This is going to be interesting because it will prove that I do in fact practice what I preach on this topic today, which is don't attach yourself. Don't let that hit. Don't let that fix, like a drug fix, like a fix of sex or like a drink, a shot of alcohol. Don't depend on that need or that fix in order to put your best foot forward. I'm the living proof. We got 5 people on. I can't believe it. So the next thing I'm doing in this test, these tests, I call them growth tests because I am growing. I watched yesterday's test and it made a pretty amazing podcast episode. Once again, I think 8 people listened to that. So the numbers are extremely low, but I keep putting my best foot forward. The next thing I'm doing that's a test is I've got myself a good lapel mic. I'm not going to lie. It's a Rode mic. It's $150. It's worth almost as much as this iPhone. Not really, but if you consider the price for a mic, it's pretty insane. However, this test is to see how it produces a quality sound file for podcasts where I can literally be on the go. Now, I'm kind of walking around in different scenarios today. I am walking. I've been walking. For those of you listening, I've walked about 2 blocks thus far since I started this podcast. Again, this is the trainer in me. I've gone down the road, a noisy road. There were a few people a little distance away. Yes, we were social distancing. They saw me walking. They scattered. It was kind of nice, actually. Felt like I was parting the seas. Okay. Then I kept walking. There was a gust of wind. A bus drove by. Now I'm in kind of I should probably get out of here because I am in the hood. I actually am in the hood. I'm in an underground parking kind of thing with an echoey sound. Can't wait to review this. I'm looking at myself. The picture's good. It's an iPhone. So these are the tests today. And I thought I would read off my blog post intro as the intro to this video. So that's what we're testing today. And what do? I do get a lot of messages. So I get a lot of feedback. People tend to share their opinions with you a lot. Sometimes it affects you. Sometimes it's just hate. But sometimes it's actual constructive criticism. And sometimes it's useful. Sometimes it's not. But I try to look at it all. So usually based on the feedback I get in private messages at this point, I get to refine my approach. Wow. Was that the intro or was that the content? No, that was the kind of me just rambling in. Something I will probably learn to do less on the podcast or on any content for that matter. So hello, my name is Marc Lalonde, also known as The Wealthy Trainer. I'm going to kind of glance over in my notes, but really I think I'm going to go off the cuff because this is something that I am really good at, extremely good at, actually amazing at. And I think it's the reason why I will actually, in fact, break through and make it in this world of, I'm going to call it the influencer world. Big audience, baby. A lot of engagement on my posts. I'm shooting for the likes of someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone are generally my go-to top 3 guys. They've been for a while, and I believe I know the key to it all. And it comes in the form of content. Putting out content exactly like I'm giving to you right now today. Exactly. What kind of content? Well, what's on your mind? What is helping you move forward? That's a great way to look at it. So today, would I call it a superpower? The observation I've made is I listen to myself a lot. I listen to my mind. I listen to my brain. I'm very present lately. I kind of sit back and I go, why? What am I feeling and why am I feeling this way? And I don't think I need to go into the needs that I spoke of, such as getting my next hit. Yes, I used to do drugs. And yes, I know the feeling of needing my next hit. Yes, I used to be an alcoholic, full blown. And yes, I needed my next hit, as in drink. What else did I say? Food. Yes, when I I often still need my hit of food. What's next? Social interaction. Fixes. We need our fixes. But the fix I want to talk about today, I don't think I have time to go into how I fixed all the other things, but they're kind of in the same way. You create a groove by kind of forcing yourself into it and letting your vision pull you. Okay, yeah, I'm a little sniffly. It's a little bit of a cold. I think I'm over my little illness here. That was a little side note because I'm sniffing a lot. And also I haven't been getting out at all. So the fresh air is kind of a shock to the system with this whole self-isolation thing. I'm going to start like this. I'm going to go right to it, right to the guts, even though we're 11 minutes in. Wowzers. The biggest need, I believe, that stops most people from reaching an influencer status, such as the three gentlemen I just mentioned, and there are many more. I'm not sure if that's your goal, but I believe this applies to all other aspects and all other fixes we need. It's the trap of engagement, views, fans, and followers on your social media posts. Here's what happens as I feel it through my body. You spend all this time on a piece of content, on a valuable lesson, on a video, on a blog post, on a podcast episode. All this time, all this energy. It takes energy to do this stuff. Whoops, was I out of frame for the video people? I'm getting into podcast mode. How you guys doing? Welcome. Oh, another thing really quick is a quick squirrely moment because I have many of them. When I do this live for post-production, this is when I can add the intro. This is when I can add the call to action at the end. And this is when I can add little popping videos. Let's do a popping video right now. My goal is to be of the same stature as far as engagement and audience members and tribe and community as Gary Vaynerchuk, Ty Lopez, or Grant Cardone. Let's throw Marc Lalonde in there for kicks. There we go. I just created my own fix. So that's post-production. If you're seeing this on the actual live initial run, you're not going to see those images. So you're like, why is he pointing at the air like that? That's another thing I'm working on right now from the teacher standpoint. Okay, so that's a killer. Who feels that way? I can actually see you if you're watching the live version right now on YouTube Live. Who suffers from that? Who thinks that because they got 1 like or 3 views or 5 people attended your webinar, or it could be a webinar, or really I'm talking about just getting content out there more than anything. Yeah, you put up your content, nobody watches it. Nobody engages, you have no followers, no matter what you seem to be doing. Who feels that way? I did feel that way. Do I feel that way now? I've gotten over it. Why have I gotten over it? Why do we keep putting out these valuable life hacks or life lessons or business tips or health tips or anything that's helping me with a better quality of life? Why am I able to just keep cranking it out there, adding it to my blog, adding it to social media, and not getting any engagement, any views? What keeps me going? Well, here it is. I'll give you guys a fact. After I tell you what keeps me going, well, it's my vision. My vision is pulling me. The 3 gentlemen I just shared with you, 3 people I aspire to be like in terms of size of audience and engagement and fansmanship and having a fandom, in having an audience, that sounds weird, in having a bunch of fans, in having an audience of that size and that caliber, the vision of that is what pulls me. Now, that's number 1. Number 2 is trusting the process. You gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. You gotta have faith, baby. It's the only way. Because you will not have any kind of traction unless you have at least, this is the fact, unless you have at least 100 pieces of content created and on your blog and on all social media platforms. 100. Then you might get traction. I've experienced this in certain avenues. Now I will experience it as you see consistent content coming from me. If I don't have engagement on my posts, doesn't mean people aren't seeing my stuff. People see your stuff. I've got some LinkedIn posts that 1,000 people have seen, but the thing has 21 likes or maybe 8 likes and 500 people saw it. By doing this over and over and over and over again to the tune of about 100 times and being consistent and not having the need to get your fix, that's what's going to keep you going. That's what's going to keep you going. 2 things, baby. 2 things. That's it. Number 1 is let your vision pull you. Have the vision of the person that you want to be like. At that caliber. You don't want to be like them. You want to be like you. But at that caliber. Let your vision pull you, number 1. And number 2, you're going to have to trust the process. Because if those before you have done it, why can't you? And it's not that they've done it in another time or place or time or in another time. They've just recently done it. Social media is the new Hollywood. Social media is recent. It's new. Superstars are popping out left and right. Look at Charli D'Amelio. She's killing all of these people. 35 million people on TikTok. I don't even know if she's been on it for a year. So there we have it, folks. That's what will keep you going. That's what keeps me going. And there's something I'd like to throw in as a little bonus note, okay? Kind of like a little, how would I put this? Would I put it a bonus tip? See, it's hard for me to say when I just assume something. If I don't have the credibility, it's very difficult for me to tell you guys or instruct you guys on something. Like, it's hard for me to say that this works because I don't have 10 million followers. I don't even have 1 million consistent followers. I don't even have 100,000 people who tune into me regularly, hence why I'm making this video. Here's my thought though, I'm going to share it anyways, because I really believe I am correct. If you can conquer these 2 things, now we're going to revisit this in a year from now, and we will see if I was in fact correct. When you, number 1, let your vision pull you. That's hard because it's not there yet. That's why they call it a vision. It takes extreme belief. Super hard to do. When you do that and keep producing content and putting it out there, over 100 pieces I want to see. I want to see that. Before you start complaining and saying you're getting no engagement, I want 100 pieces up. Sorry, my trainer came out there. If you do that, and if you trust the process and continue to produce those pieces of content, you are now in what I like to call rarefied air. You should be proud of that. You should be pumped about that. You should say to yourself, nobody in their right mind would put up or create or create amazing content 100 times with so little engagement. Nobody in their right minds would do that. Therefore, I'm standing alone right now. I'm already ahead of everyone else because I'm here and they're over there. And if you're watching me on video, there's like parking lines, like, there we go. If you're watching me on video, I'm in a parking lot, there's parking lines. Most people are here. As soon as you continue to produce that content where any person in their right mind would think it's crazy, you stand over here. You're in that rarefied air. I'm going to leave you with a quote, guys, before I sign off today. Actually, it just popped into my head, and I hope I get it right. Those of you who don't know me, I tend to mess up quotes. The quote goes a little something like this. A little something, something, something like this. You must be willing to do the things that others won't in order to have the things that others don't. Okay, love you guys. Marc Lalonde signing off. Bye-bye now. Thank you for watching or listening. I hope this content has helped you in any way, maybe motivated, inspired you. Maybe it's triggered an idea. Maybe it's gotten you out of a rut. Maybe it's simply entertained you. Listen, I'm just an ex-computer consultant guy who lost his way to drugs and alcohol and eventually became homeless. From rock bottom, I cleaned up, I clawed my way back into the workforce. I shifted into running my own business. I've been retired from the corporate world for 7 years now, and I've never looked back. If you want to follow me on my journey or maybe even connect further, you can either go to my blog at thewealthytrainer.com. That's thewealthytrainer.com, or you can click the link in the description if you're watching this video. Marc Lalonde signing off, and I'll see you on the inside. Bye-bye now.